Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV with me, Stephen, and I'm joined tonight by G. How are you, G?
I'm good. I'm really good. Obviously, excited that the new Premier League season is starting. Football's back. Not so excited about the thought of Arsenal playing again, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, no, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Apart from I got stung by a wasp in the stomach earlier on, which was not
pleasant. I don't know why I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing.
Do you know what? It still kind of stings now. But you know what? We get on with it. Lottie will be joining us in a wee minute. For anybody who's tuning in to see Lottie's face. This is the first of our pre-season, or not pre-season, but preview shows for the new season. And as such, I am delighted to finally be able to welcome onto the show someone who I have been interacting with for quite some time. And we keep saying, oh, we're going to come on each other's shows and we're going to do stuff together. And we just, circumstances have dictated we've never had that opportunity. And it's great to finally have him on. It's one half of the Blast from the Arsenal podcast. Angelo, how are you?
I'm good. And yes, thank you for having me on. And finally, we break the duck. We've been meaning to do this for quite some time, haven't we? So thank you very much for having me on. And hopefully first of many where we get together and talk Arsenal.
Absolutely. Can't wait to get into things tonight and have a good chat with you about things. I've just seen Lottie's come back, so we'll just pop her back into the screen. Lottie, how are you?
Good. I'm very good. I've had a really, really good day. I just literally was doing some stuff earlier, and I actually got to talk to Gunnar-san. I've been friends with him for about 10 years, and it was the first time we actually had a FaceTime in a decade, and we actually met on Twitter, which was mad. So it's feeling a bit surreal at the moment, but I'm all good otherwise. How are you guys? We're
all good, thank you. All good. Well, listen, we've got quite a bit to get through tonight, and obviously it's exciting times with the return of the Premier League tomorrow night. We're all a bit apprehensive to see what it's going to hold for us as Arsenal supporters, but you know what? It's a new season. We have to hope for the best. So we'll play our titles and we'll get into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's
So, as I say, welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV for the first pre-match preview of the new season. It's a trip to Brentford tomorrow night for the newly promoted side up against Arsenal. It's, as I say, apprehensive times. Hasn't been a great deal happen in terms of changes to the squad and stuff this summer. Sorry, I'm just looking at my lighting there. But do you know what? It can't get any worse than it has been.
Famous last words.
Famous last words. Evening, David. How are you? Evening, Wasabi 85. How are you? So, listen, we'll get on to the match in a few minutes. But first of all, I want to touch on a couple of other things. Firstly, looks like Joe Willock is gone. It comes out today that they finally agreed to terms. Angelo, feelings on Joe Willock going? Are you sad? Are you happy? Indifferent?
I guess a bit of everything. You never want to lose, one of your own, someone that you've, as a club, has come through your youth academy. But we said it before, and I know you guys have said it as well. We've got to be more ruthless with using our academy to generate funds because, we're not PSG and Man City. And we've seen, and again, I know you guys have said it before, we've seen Chelsea been the best at this for a number of years. Either buy the youth, train them, put them out on loan, get the value up, sell them. If they're not good enough for the team, they're not good enough for the team. We've got to stop being sentimental. So, I'm a bit gutted by it, but I think it's the right thing. And as long as we reinvest that money in the remaining couple of weeks of this transfer window, then it's, depending on who we get, it's the right thing to do. Is he going to get into the first team? I doubt it. I mean, he only really played Europa League games for Arsenal last season and the odd sort of substitute appearance. But what I do think is that him going to Newcastle has effectively doubled his value. If he hadn't have gone to Newcastle, got the game time, got the goals, 7-7, I think it was on that run, there's no way we'd be getting that sort of money. And I can only hope that the likes of Reece Nelson, sort of take heed from that, see how it's worked for him. And even Emil Smith-Rowe, going out to Huddersfield, worked for him, came back. He's now our new number 10. So there's something to be said for getting that experience if you're not going to get it straight away at Arsenal. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you look at the likes of Reece Nelson, who apparently turned down a loan move last season, and yet he can't get near the side, you kind of wonder why players aren't busting the gut to go out and get regular first team football.
Yeah.
G, obviously you missed our show the other night when we were talking a wee bit about this, and Lottie obviously had her say on Joe Willock. I mean, now that it looks like it's pretty much done, are you glad to see him going, or?
Yeah, it's what it is. I think every time you get a Hale End boy, break into the kind of like the first team or be in and around the first team, you always want him to do well. So excuse me. So yeah, in a way, slightly kind of like sad to see him go, but at the same time, I think personally, I think it's a fair price. I know, a lot of Arsenal fans are not happy with, the price that he eventually has gone for, so like the 22-25 million pound mark. But for me, I think similar to what Angelo said, had he not had that loan spell, we would have been lucky to get 10 million for him. So he went away, he did what you want every single or any single player to do on loan, which is make an impact, raise their value, and that's exactly what he did. So. For me, as much as there's a little bit of sentiment there, I'm happy for the kid. He got his move. He's going to get first team football, and we've got 20+ million in the bank, and also another space in the squad. More importantly than the money, so we can actually go out there and get a midfielder that potentially will be part of our first team plans. Because let's face it. Regardless of how well he did at Newcastle, I don't think Willock, for me, in my opinion, was ever going to be a first team player for Arsenal in terms of the first 11. So, yeah, bit of sentiment, but I think all parties are happy, and I'm pretty happy that he's gone to Newcastle.
Okay, excellent. Lottie, I'm not going to bother asking you because obviously we talked about this the other night, so there's no point recovering it. Wish him well, but as I've said, and as Angelo's pointed out tonight as well, we need to use the academy. It's not just there for, to produce first team players for us. It's there to produce players that we can sell and make money to invest in our first team. So, yeah, good luck to him. Sad it didn't work out, but do you know what? These things happen. So we'll move on. And hopefully you will have seen that we have done a bit of a rebrand today. All our social media's got a rebrand. And we have new screen backgrounds and color schemes and everything tonight. And I'm even wearing a new Cannon Chatter t-shirt. All in aid of the new season. And thank you, as always, to Martin from Gunforce Edits, who has helped put all this together. We couldn't do this and couldn't look as good as this without him. So thank you. And that leads seamlessly into the release of Arsenal's new kit. So we seen the other day, Arsenal's new third strip was released. Lottie, what's your thoughts on this?
It's so pretty. I love it. I had decided to get the home kit this month, but that's gone out the window. That's the one I want. I don't want the home kit no more. I want that one. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it.
Fair enough. You're going to get Sambi number 23 in the back, aren't you?
Yeah, that is correct. But when I tried to go and buy it, the Adidas store had actually ran out. So I thought I'd go for someone different. I mean, all I see at the moment is Saka shirts everywhere. As much as I love the kid, I think our new signings need some love too.
Excellent. Angelo, thoughts on the third kit?
It's a throwback to the 95 Lightning kit, isn't it? And I think as a Arsenal fan, a bit like the bruised banana behind me, you learn to sort of love them, even though they're kind of weird and quirky. And I think as a non-Arsenal fan, you look at these things going, what the hell is that? But as an Arsenal fan, it kind of unites us all, doesn't it? Going, yeah, that's our wacky design. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's, like I say, kind of reminiscent to the earlier years, and I can see lots of people buying it, and it becoming an iconic shirt in years to come, especially if we have somewhat of a good season. Fingers crossed. But so yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Of the 3 shirts this season, what's your favorite?
Oh, that is a tricky question. I'll be honest. That the away shirt, the yellow shirt that Lottie's got on, I do love that. That's nice. And again, another throwback to the '71 double winning season with the cannon on it. The home shirt, I was really unsure about. You know, you sort of see the leaks of them early, and I did look at it and think, well, that is very Ajax, isn't it? Lots of white, but it's really grown on me. So I think I might have to say the home shirt. You know. Just traditionalist, what can I say?
Fair enough. I was the same, the sort of the home shirt. I wasn't keen on the blue stripes on the shoulders. That kind of put me off, but it is, the more I see it, the more it's growing on me.
Yeah.
Jay, thoughts on this new 3rd strip?
You know what? It was funny because I was at Tesco's earlier doing a bit of shopping, and I saw a geezer walk past me and he had it on, and I have to be honest, I have to kind of go against the grain with this one. I wasn't really sure when I first saw it. I'm even more not sure when I saw it on the geezer earlier. But having said that, the first 2, in terms of the home shirt and the yellow one, I didn't like either of them, and we know how that ended. I've got both. So chances are this is probably going to grow on me and I'll end up buying it. But yeah, of the 3, I have to say, I think this one is my least favorite out of the 3.
Fair enough. I mean, I said before, it kind of looks like a fuzzy TV.
Yeah. It's
you know,
a little bit.
The picture's gone a bit wonky on it. Although I have to say, what really took me was those shoes that I hope you can see in the picture. And I'm not going to lie, I ordered them. I haven't ordered the top, but I've ordered the shoes. So I probably will get the top come transfer deadline day. I'll probably buy it. But
it's probably fair to say, as a club, we've not played the best football, but you know, we've had some of the best kits that have been kicking around for the last few seasons. So we've got to be good at something, haven't we?
That's it. We've got to look good one way or other. Andy saying the yellow aways lost 1.5 stone in 4 weeks to ensure fifth tomorrow. Well done, Andy.
Damn, good
fantastic.
Stuff.
That's incredible.
Brilliant. All right, so we'll move on from kits, and we'll talk a wee bit. Angelo, what's your take on our transfer window so far? We kind of, up until the end of the season, we heard, from Arteta that they very much have this plan in place, and they know what they can do, and they're excited by the budget that they have, that they're going to be able to do what they need to do. And yet, arguably, we've signed one first-team starter, and that's a replacement for David Luiz at £50 million in Ben White. The other 2 guys, Sambi and Tavares, we needed backup. We needed cover at left back, and we certainly needed cover in the centre midfield. Are you happy with the business we've done, or do you think we're still lacking an awful lot?
Honestly, both. So sitting on the fence, let me explain why. I think you're right. We needed a new right-sided centre-back, and I'm not going to sort of sit here and say I know every little bit about Ben White, but from what I have seen over the 2 seasons that sort of have paid closer attention to him, if you like, at Leeds and Brighton, and certainly what I saw in the game against Spurs in the Mine series, he looked like a really assured quality player. Whether he's £50 million, probably not, but I think in years to come that'll actually prove to be quite a shrewd investment. Homegrown. Brexit, I mean, that is going to throw another spanner in the works, I think, in the coming months in terms of who you can sign and how easy it is to get, foreign players playing in the UK. I guess that all remains to be seen. The other 2, as you say, very much backups. And I suppose we've got to think about Arsenal as a club, as much as you all have fond memories of invincible seasons and double winning seasons, etc. We are not there, and we're not going to get there overnight. So what's our realistic ambition for next season? It's to try and get into the top 4. Is the squad that we've got with the additions we've made enough to get us there? No, nowhere near in my eyes. So am I pleased with what we've done? Yes, but am I disappointed we've not done more when there was going to be this ruthless clear out and there was a war chest of some sort? Neither seem to have happened. We've not got rid of anybody other than Joe Willock, of course, and who he's leaving. And we've not brought anyone in, bar Ben White, that makes you think we're really going for it this season. 2 weeks left. I mean, the excuse is always you want to get them in before pre-season starts so they can, bed into the team, etc., etc. And we've seen it before. You buy a player on deadline day, and maybe you're going to give them, 2 weeks off so that they can get settled with training and the squad. There you go. You're already like a month behind where you want to be. So you start playing catch up. I just hope we can pull some rabbits out of the hats, because even some of the names that we've been linked with, and I know you've covered a lot of them on your transfer shows, they're not necessarily filling me with particular confidence that it's going to be that next level up for us. So yeah, frustrated but kind of pleased, but not particularly happy as it stands as of today.
Okay. Where do you think it's the most important for us to strengthen between now and the close of the window?
How many players are you asking me to sign?
Well, I mean, realistically, you're going to, at most, we're going to get probably one or two. I would say, I can't see us getting. For me, I think we need potentially 4 new starters.
Yeah,
I can't see us getting them.
Yeah,
but, you've got to be optimistic that we're going to get 1 or 2 at least. So, I mean, for you, if you had to pick 1 or 2 positions, where do you think is the most important for us to get?
I think for me, the big one is right back, massively. I think Hector Bellerin just doesn't look like he wants to be there. He looks like he needs a fresh challenge. His head's not in the game. I mean, even against Spurs, it was almost like a bit like, I'll tell you what it reminds me of, when Oxlade-Chamberlain wanted to leave Arsenal and we played Liverpool and got battered, and he couldn't be bothered to run back half the time. Almost like he knew he was leaving, but he was just waiting for it to happen. He was going through the motions. That's very much what I'm getting from Hector Bellerin at the minute. And as much as I like Callum Chambers, he showed some good sort of snippets of what he's about at the end of last season. But is he that sort of player that's going to play regularly and get you to that next level? Not for me. So I think we definitely need a right back. And I think we need another striker. I know we're desperate for an attacking midfielder, but we've kind of got creativity and flair within the team. We just can't seem to put the ball in the net half the time. Aubameyang, again, I don't know what's going on there. Is he almost an Ozil Mark II, or is he out of position playing on that left wing? Lacazette does well, but he's not ruthless enough. Never a £52 million sort of striker from the day we bought him, really. So I just think we need someone. I think we need someone clinical to come in and do the job for us. Of course, those sort of strikers are, they don't grow on trees and they cost a lot of money. And Messi's already gone to PSG, so I'm not sure what the answer is, really.
How's Deadly going to feel about you saying that we need to replace Bellerin? Because
I
remember it was a bit of a running joke with us whenever I used to you put out a message every week, asking for questions for your podcast, and every week I used to question Bellerin. He used to love defending him, but has he come around to the fact that he needs to go as well?
Yeah, I think so. He's very much a Bellerin fanboy. I think just because he's a bit quirky, Bellerin, and he's save the planet and all that cool stuff that he does off the pitch, but on the pitch, I think even Diddley's starting to be sort of swayed by the fact that, as I say, it's that next level. Are you happy to be sort of where we are, or do we want to make strides forwards? And ironically, defence wasn't really a big problem for us last season. I think we finished with, was it 3rd best defensive record in the league, 4th best. So it's a strange one. You look at Arsenal and think, awful at defending, yet somehow we've ended up that way around. It's the other end of the pitch where we just can't score goals. So let's wait and see what happens, really.
Okay. G, again, the same sort of thing question for you. I mean, how are you feeling at the minute? We're going into tomorrow, especially with Runnerson as our second choice goalkeeper, and it looks very much like the whole deal for Ramsdale's broken down. I mean, how are you feeling about the transfer window right now?
Not positive at all, to be honest. I have to say, similar to what Angelo said, in that it started off really well. I was really impressed when, I'm not going to sit here and say I knew, a huge amount about Tavares and Lokonga, because those players, I don't think 99% of Arsenal fans knew who they were until, their names kind of got splashed over Twitter. But nevertheless, for me, we had a problem at left back in terms of when Tierney was out last season, and we bought somebody to come in and cover. And from what I've seen, he looks a decent player. I think he's going to keep Tierney on his toes. again, you know, we all know the problems with midfield. I still think the problems in midfield are deep rooted. I don't think Lokonga is nowhere near enough. But again, he looks a good, you know, young, promising player. So, you know, buying somebody, you know, of his age, of his talent, with his leadership skills, obviously, you know, being, you know, recommended by the likes of Company and Thierry Henry is always gonna, you know, so that's always good to have on your resume if you're getting a reference from those guys. So again, I thought that was a good bit of business. And then for me, as much as, you know, Ben White did cost 50 million, I didn't really get the hoo-ha about the price, because for years, I just think as Arsenal fans, we've wanted, you know, our club to spend money. We've wanted our club to spend money, particularly on Premier League proven players. And I think the more you look at Ben White in terms of how he plays and, you know, his kind of career up to date, I think he's going to be a fantastic bit of business. So with those 3 signings, I was very optimistic. And I remember like we were having conversations off air, and yeah, I was pleased. I was happy. But then it's like they just hit the brakes. And I don't know. I think it's a combination of the fact that a lot of teams are watching the pennies a lot more. You know, they're a bit more tight with the purse strings. We've also got the combination of the fact that we've got bang average players on high wages, so we're struggling to shift them. And I think with those things, if you put those things into context, with the fact that we've had 2 seasons back-to-back 8th league position, you know, I think when you put that all together in the mix, that's why we are where we are. And I think that's why we've not necessarily bought the players that we need. Because for me, and I know, you know, we've had this conversation, I think we're lacking at least 4 first team players to come into this team. We need a right back, as Angelo said. For me, we need a first team centre mid, we need a cam, and we need a striker. But it's kind of crazy because even though we can see why the club bought Ben White, as Angelo said, defensively, you know, on reflection, we had the 3rd best defence, but yet the marquee signing so far has been a defender. So I do understand why we bought Ben White in terms of his qualities and so forth. But at the same time, it was probably, as much as Arsenal fans, we hate the way we defend, it was probably the one area that maybe we could have afforded to maybe not, you know, spend or splash that amount of money. But for me, we've got real issues across the whole first 11. And I know I had the conversation with you off air earlier when I was picking my team for tomorrow's game. And I felt really deflated and underwhelmed that I was having to select for some of the players that I'm having to put in the first 11. Now, I'm choosing players not by choice, but I'm choosing players because there's nobody better. And it's just really deflating. So in a way, I can kind of sympathize with Arteta, because at the end of the day, you know, we heard what he said at the end of last season. I'm not making excuses for him, having said all the things I've said in terms of the market and the context. But at the same time, he made it very clear last season that he knew he didn't have a squad good enough to challenge. And we're starting the season with a squad, in my opinion, and I'm sure in his opinion, that's not good enough to challenge. And for whatever reason, we're in this position. But I'm just praying that we do more between now and the end of the season. And by that, I mean, I hope we can shift out more players. I hope we can bring in more players, because I don't think money is a problem. If we're willing to spend £50 million on a centre back, I don't think money is the issue. But yeah, I'm feeling okay, similar to Angelo, with the business we've done, but we've not done nowhere near, you know, the amount of business that I was expecting or would have hoped. And I think if we don't pull our finger out between now and the 31st of August, I think top 4 is completely out of reach, and I think top 6 will be a struggle, if I'm honest.
Do you think, just to jump in, do you think there's an unrealistic expectation of fans, football fans in general, on how easy it is to actually do, the buying and the selling? Because it's not like FIFA, you can just do a quick sale and thanks very much, good money in the bank. These things take time, and it's people's lives. It's relocating to another country, maybe. It's, the player's got to want to go. It's got to find the right money, et cetera, et cetera. It's so frustrating this side of the fence, but sometimes you have to take a step back and think. I think Arsenal fans,
the problem with us Arsenal fans is that we've run out of patience. Because we've been almost like on the decline for so long, it's like we've got to the point now where we feel like we've been patient enough. We've given the club enough time because we're used to winning trophies. We're used to being in the Champions League, and all of a sudden, this is not happening. So I think, it's built up frustration, definitely. But also, I do think as much as there is frustration, there is almost like an unrealistic view. One of how difficult it is to actually get these transfers in, mainly because we can't seem to get the players out. But secondly, I honestly feel there is also a massive, kind of unrealistic view of just how good our squad is. Because despite, Arsenal fans being really frustrated in terms of like, who we're not buying or, who we're actually not selling, you've still got Arsenal fans out there that are then, having a meltdown when we're looking to sell the likes of Xhaka or looking to sell the likes of Willock. But I said it, in the last show because I wasn't in the last show, but the show before that, I was quite frustrated. And for me, I just kept saying, Arsenal fans need to ask themselves every time they get sentimental over a player or every time they start to question why the club is selling that player. Take Joe Willock, for example. Okay, I get he was a Hale End boy. I get that we don't want to sell him. We wanted him to do well. But ask yourself this question. Does he get into the top 4 teams in this country? He doesn't get anywhere near the Man City lineup, the Manchester United lineup, the Chelsea lineup, the Liverpool lineup. He doesn't get anywhere near the Leicester team. So you can't expect to challenge when you want to hold on to players that won't even get anywhere near the starting 11 of the clubs that you want to compete with. So sometimes I think as Arsenal fans, we're our own worst enemies, to be honest.
Absolutely. Lottie, I mean, do you think that the likes of Edu and Arteta could be doing any more, or do you think we're kind of victims of circumstance, that the fact that the pandemic happened, the clubs don't have as much money? You see a lot of clubs coming and it's reported they're looking at loan deals. Do you think we could be doing more to get some of these players out?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the prime example is number 34, your favourite. I mean, AC Milan didn't value him at the price that Arsenal wanted to sell him.
Roma.
And he obviously thinks he's worth that price and he thinks he's that good, but he really isn't. It's not like Roma, sorry. It's not like Roma are not spending money. Do you know what I mean? They've just offered 34 for Tammy. He's yet to make a decision whether he wants to go to us or Roma. So he's clearly thinks
that's almost where we have to be ruthless and say, you know what, we don't want this guy playing for us. Let's just take the hit and get on with replacing him. What's 5 million really going to do in the grand scheme of things? Or hold Roma to the price you want, and that's the end of it. It's one way or the other. You can't really have that happy medium, can you? And the issue
it isn't.
It's
frustrating because he hasn't been good enough. He's had 2 good half seasons in the last 5 years, in my opinion. But I want him to go. Definitely, Stephen wants him to go. I know G is on that boat as well, but I'm still trying to fathom why he's still staying. In terms of Edu needs to stop going on holidays and do some work. We need a CA and we need a forward and we need that right back desperately.
One thing for me though is that I want to clarify, because I think obviously with the whole Xhaka thing, it's like as soon as you say a bad word about Xhaka, it's almost like it's a personal vendetta. There's no personal vendetta. Like for me, Xhaka's not good enough for Arsenal Football Club, but that's not to say El Neni is, because El Nene's not, Willock's not. There are so many players in this Arsenal team that are nowhere near as good enough. And I was having, I put something up about Xhaka, and this guy on Twitter was having a go at me, but it was quite a civil debate nonetheless. And he started making comparisons to the likes of Lacazette and Bellerin, and I'm like, I'm not saying those players are good enough. And if you actually watch our live shows, I've publicly said, as much as I like Lacazette in terms of his work ethic and the way he mentors the youngsters, I want him to go, because at the end of the day, he doesn't do what we want him to do, which is to score 20 plus goals a season. So for me, it's nothing against, Xhaka, number 34. It's nothing against Bellerin. It's nothing against El Nene. At the end of the day, for me, they're playing. For me, at the end of the day, we can only assume that they're playing to their full potential. We because that's all we can assume. And at the end of the day, we're 8th and we're not eighth. It's not rocket science as to why we're eighth. We're eighth because the players we currently have are not good enough. So the fact that I'm pushing for Xhaka to leave the club and be sold, it's not personal against Xhaka. It's Xhaka is one of a very high number of players at Arsenal Football Club that need to go.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't get rid of all of them. We'll have no team.
The squad's too big at the moment, so there's probably maybe about 4 that can definitely go, I think.
I just want to go to a couple of these comments here. Alex 96 Williams, who are you replacing number 34 with for 17 million? Who's an upgrade in this market? I understand what you're saying when you ask that question, but why does he have to? And I've seen loads of people ask that same question, you know, selling them for that. Who are we going to get for that money? It's not about getting someone for the same money. You know, you don't sell someone and only spend the money you get for that player to buy him.
Abraham and Lukaku, perfect example.
Yeah. You just gotta, you know, you take what you can get and you go out and you buy an improvement, and there's improvements on number 34. There's plenty of players out there. Yes, you're gonna have to spend a bit more money, but there are plenty of people out there that would be an improvement in that position. And then David had a good Euros though. Again, I said this the other night, and Angelo, you might want to close your ears for a wee second. He only had really one good game, and that was against Italy. The rest of the games...
I mean, I didn't even think he played well against Italy, to be honest. I thought he was average at best, you know. Just my opinion, but I didn't think he had a fantastic Euros. He grew into the tournament as Switzerland did as a team, so... I don't know. Maybe that was flattering for him, but
it's the same argument as well, and not obviously this one, but there's the argument of people saying, you know, we were a better team last season when he was in the team, and we missed him. We did, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's good enough for for what we want. It just means that our midfield was that bad that we missed him. Arteta is sticking to his script of how to run a club and doesn't seem like he wants to change script to match strengths of players he has. Yeah, I mean, I've said that before, and that's my biggest frustration with Arteta is he knows what he wants to do. He wants to play a certain system, but he doesn't have the players to play it. And rather than him adapting his system to suit the players he has, he's trying to get them to adapt to his system, and it's just not working. Chris, I think, again, we've been hampered by the high wages of the players we have. We'll probably see another January window of players like Kalashnik having his contract cancelled. Yeah, potentially. David, first on alphabetical order right now, by the way. Yeah, and probably going to be the only time, unless we win tomorrow night, then we'll be first until Saturday. Our finish last season, though, was so poor. The one
maybe talking about finishing.
Yeah, do you mean finishing?
Yeah. Or where we finished in the table, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you reckon it will be number 34?
I hope not.
Tomorrow?
Better not be.
We'll come on to that after when we'll go through our sort of predicted lineups. Gunnar Sam, players who cannot take us to the next level should not be at the club. We need to shed ourselves of these players who have let even Wenger down. Yeah, absolutely. So David was referring to where we finished in the table. Yeah, it was poor. And I think, you know, I've seen arguments of, you know, you look at the season's two halves and you look at it up until we got rid of some of that deadwood, the likes of Ozil and Mustafi going, and there was a massive change. And obviously the likes of Odegaard coming in on loan made a difference. So, you know, there was definitely a season of two halves for us. But at the end of the day, those two halves didn't matter because as a whole we finished 8th. And that has hampered us. I know, you know, we've heard before the whole, when Arsenal knock, it's a different knock. But without Europe, that knock's a lot quieter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's proven to be the case. You know, we're not getting some of these big names, and it's all very well being linked with them, but we're not seeing them jump coming to the club.
You know, I always think this as well. We're fortunate we're based in London because that has a big pool for players, certainly foreign players. And, you know, if we had 8th consecutive finishes, finishing 8th consecutively, and we were somewhere up north, I don't know, so you look at Newcastle, I mean, massive club, but they just can't get the players, you know. And I'm not saying we're quite at that level just yet, but, you know, it might not be long that we are. So we're quite fortunate that geographically we're in a location that players want to come to.
Yeah, absolutely. Evening, Antonio, who's watching the show, or not watching but listening to the show right now. Okay, so very quickly then, Angelo, where do you see us finishing this season? What's your prediction for?
Based on current squad as of today,
We're going to have to go on based on current squad because we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's irrelevant. Even if we make changes, I don't think they're going to be substantial enough to really drive us any higher than. Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic and say 7th.
7th, okay.
Yeah.
G, you had said, I think 5th, wasn't it?
Yeah. My optimism and my pessimism is like it just goes from day to day. Like some mornings I wake up and I think, yeah, we can do this. Look at Leicester's side and Tottenham side, and teams finish above us, and I'm thinking, yeah, we've got the players. But then, so even though I predicted 5th, realistically today, the way I'm feeling, I've got to agree with Angelo. I'm thinking 7th, but I'll stick to my guns. I said 5th. So I'm going to stick to that, and I just hope the boys can deliver, because I do think the squad is good enough to finish 5th if they have a good season. And that kind of sounds contradictory because I'm so negative, but I still look at the players. I looked at last season, and one of the criticisms I had for Arteta was I don't believe, regardless of how well Leicester played, regardless of how well Tottenham were and some of the other teams, I can't sit here and say that Leicester, man for man, have a better squad than Arsenal. I don't agree with that. Like, I just don't. I don't think, across the whole squad, they have better players. I just don't. So I think 5th is possible, but 7th is more realistic. But I'll say 5th. I have faith in my Gooners.
Okay. And Lottie, you'd said 5th as well, hadn't you?
No, I went with 6, and I'm going to stick with it. I'll be happy with a Europe spot above the 2 Bob Mob down the road. Yeah.
And I obviously, when we were doing our predictions the other night for top 6, I hadn't got Arsenal in my top 6, so I have, in my head, I have them as 7th. I think it'll be the same 6 finish above us as last season, with the exception then of West Ham, who I think will drop out a wee bit. I think last season was one of those one-season wonders for them, and they'll drop down a wee bit this season and not be as competitive. Comment there from Alex: do you think Oba will find his form again when fans back in the stadium? We'll come on to that in a couple of minutes. 7th from NDB30 TV, and Gunnar-san, anything above 8th would be an improvement. Absolutely. All right, well, listen, we're going to get into tomorrow night's match in a wee minute, but before we do that, we're going to bring something back that I know G just loves.
Yeah.
And Angelo has been told about this, and I think they're both looking a bit nervous now all of a sudden. G, you going to help me sing the theme tune?
Go on then, you start.
All right. Take on
G. Take on G. Take me on. So let's go.
Lottie is going to be our quiz master tonight. And so I'm just going to pass over to Lottie. Lottie, take it away.
Okay, guys, who wants to go first?
I'll give our guest first.
Too kind. Well, it depends on the question is also.
Right, your first one is who?
Hold on, Lottie. Lottie, hold on. Do you want to explain what's actually happening in this quiz?
All right, sorry guys. So obviously it's going to be a take on G. It's going to be 5 questions each, and whoever scores the most out of 5 wins.
All right, good stuff.
You're going to be G. Don't look so panicked. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm guessing there's no forfeit if you lose.
Oh, mate.
I'm going to let Stephen choose that. I haven't got a forfeit at the moment. Stephen, can you think of something?
I'll take a shot of brandy if I lose.
Take a shot of brandy if you win, so it's not really a big deal.
Yeah. I'll take a shot of brandy if I win. I'll take 2 shots if I lose.
Okay. All right, Angelo, you ready?
Let's go. Okay.
Who were Arsenal's sponsors in the 2000 and 2001 season?
O2?
No.
Oh, was it not?
That was wrong. It was Dreamcast.
Ah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is the original name of Arsenal before it was changed in 1886?
I don't even know that, mate.
I know that one.
I know. I knew Dreamcast. Nah, pass. I don't know.
Okay, the answer is Dial Square.
Wow.
Okay, Angelo. Which two club legends retired at the end of 2001-2002 season?
Let's have a think. 2001. Steve Bold? No, well, that's that one wrong. Well, I've got the first one wrong, so I'm going to get the second one wrong, but I'll go with... no, it won't have been him.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah, go on.
They're defenders. That's all I'm saying.
Lee Dixon
Yep.
and Nigel Winston.
There's only one right there. Very close.
Never
Has
mind.
he got a
Very
half
close.
point?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Who was the
The other
second
one was Tony Adams.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Yep,
Yeah.
it was his testimonial. They both
There you
retired
go.
at. Okay,
The
G, you
pressure.
ready?
I should have gone first, man.
Who were Arsenal's sponsors from 1981 to 1999? There's 4 answers.
What?
There's 4 answers. Yep, we look at the kits and
Yeah.
everything.
Sponsors, as in, okay. JVC,
Yep,
Nike.
yep. 2 more.
What were the years again?
From 81 till 99. Got 2.
JVC, Nike. 02.
Nope, not 02.
I don't know the other one. I'm just gonna go Dreamcast. I don't know the other two.
No, okay, so half a point. You just weren't looking at the screen.
What's that?
Adidas.
Until
The one
what we
finished
had
with
Adidas back
Adidas and
then.
Umbro. Yep. Adidas and
Oh.
Umbro.
So why don't I get 2 points for 2 correct answers?
Yep, that's fine. Fine.
But you
Fine,
can't,
2 out of
because
4
then
is
the
fine.
questions wouldn't be weighted right. You're getting
Yeah.
half a point.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate.
For 2
You can't
answers.
call a friend because I'm on here.
Okay, Angelo. In 2000-2001, which player in Arsenal received the most red cards? This should be an easy one.
In which year, sorry?
2000 and 2001 season.
Patrick Vieira?
Yep. That's a point to Angelo.
What, sorry?
Point to Angelo.
Point? I thought you said 2 points.
Nope, 1. There's only 1 answer. You ready, G?
Yep.
Name Thierry Henry's favourite Arsenal goal he's ever scored.
Oh my god.
That was recent. It was recent. So you can't tell me
It's
you
gotta
don't know
be.
this.
It's gotta be the one against Spurs when he ran the length of the pitch.
No, it looks like Angelo knows this one. It's written on his face.
His comeback goal against Leeds, was it?
Yep, that's
Oh,
correct.
that's a rubbish goal, man. He's got that wrong, Thierry Henry, man. I love it.
Alex has got it right as well. Okay, Angelo. Which car television advertisement was Thierry Henry in?
Renault.
What was the car?
Bit of Vavavoom, Renault Clio.
Yep, perfect. It's another point to Angelo. Right. Gee, if you don't get this, I'm going to absolutely strangle you. Okay?
I told you quizzes is not my thing. It's not my thing.
What
He wants the
is
shot.
the famous advertisement that Freddie Lynchburg was in? If you don't get this, I'm
Oh,
going
it's
to cry.
Calvin Klein, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
got a bit
you
of
know
a
why I
trick.
get that? Because my missus used to like that advert. So that's ingrained in my brain.
I knew you'd get that one. Right. Angelo, this one's a 6-pointer.
Oof.
So, you ready?
Go on then.
Name the 6 Arsenal players that have scored hat-tricks in the Champions League.
Henry.
Yeah, that's 1.
Why's my mind gone blank? Right, okay. Henry. Perez.
Yep.
Ray Parlour.
Nope.
Oh, it wasn't Ray Parlour. My mind's gone blank. Do you know, I can't think of anyone else. Go
You
on.
want Busy supporting you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers, Diddley. All right, hat tricks. There's some really random ones in there. I'm sure there is.
Yep, there was. Actually, there was. Yeah, 4 random.
Oh, Bentner.
Yep.
Bentner
That's
scored a
3.
hat-trick. Yeah, Danny Welbeck.
Yep. 2 more.
How many have we got left to go?
2 more.
2 more. Let's have a think. I was going to say Jermaine Pennant, but that was in the Premier League against Southampton. Let's have a think.
2 more guesses.
All right, 2 more guesses. Bergkamp?
Nope.
No, I didn't think either, to be fair. And I'll go with Ljungberg, but I don't think he did either, to be fair. No, go on, put me out my misery.
Lottie. Hold on, Lottie. I think you should allow G to have a couple of guesses.
G, do you want to have a couple of guesses of the last 2?
I'd say, I don't know. I'd have a punt at Walcott.
Nope. I'll give you 4 guesses, G. You got 3 left to guess the 2.
Bergkamp?
Nope, we've said that.
Oh. Trying to think, man. Players who were scored. Ljungberg?
We've said that as well. Nope.
I ain't got a clue.
There
I don't know what you're trying to have.
There we go. Angelo's guessed it.
Ozil, yes, of course.
Angelo, I can't give you that one.
No, that's all right. Who was the last one? There's one more.
Yeah, what was the last one? Because I'm not going to get it.
The last one's Danny Welbeck.
You said Danny Welbeck.
I said Welbeck. Yeah, I said Welbeck.
Yeah.
Against Galatasaray,
wasn't it? The last one was Giroud, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Giroud, yeah.
You missed so many, it's so hard to know when you scored already.
Yeah,
strikers, though, isn't
he
it?
put 3 past Olympiacos.
Yeah. That's a cool answer.
Okay, G, you're going to hate me for this one. It's going to be hard. Who were the first goal scorers at the Emirates at the Dennis Bergkamp testimonial? There's 3.
There's no point even asking me that. Like, honestly, there's just
not.
Guess?
You sure you don't want to have a guess?
The first three goal scorers.
Yep, 1 was for Ajax, 2 for Arsenal.
Overmars.
Nope.
Oh, Kanu.
Yep, that's 2 for G. Your answers are worth 2 points each because there's only 3.
God, I don't even know, man. Dennis Bergkamp's testimonial. Ian Wright.
That's 3 guesses, 3 more.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Parla.
2 more guesses.
I don't know. 2 more guesses. I'm just gonna go with Vieira Gilberto.
No, actually, Gilberto did score the first goal for our first competitive match, so that was a good guess. But no.
You going to pass it over and let Angelo a couple of guesses?
Angelo, do you want to have a crack?
Obviously,
we've got Kanu already.
Yeah,
he scored in the 80th minute.
Overmars and
not Overmars, no.
No. Who was the other one you said? Oh, Kanu was the other one you said.
It's Kanu who scored in the 80th minute to win the game.
Right. Okay.
So there's 1 more Arsenal player and 1 from Ajax. This is a friendly game as well.
Yeah. Did Bergkamp himself score? No. Oh, he should have been allowed a penalty or something, sure.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Did that in for Ajax, one of the De Boer brothers? No, I don't know. Go on, put us out of a misery.
So from Ajax, it was Klaas-Jan Huntelier. I probably said that wrong. Yeah. And then, of course, the king himself, Thierry Henry, to bring us level in 55 minutes.
There you go. Learn something new every day. I'd never forgot that.
There you go.
Yeah, but I thought it would have been an obvious one around that time, to be honest. That's the first name I would have said if I didn't know, to be honest. Okay, what's the score, Stephen?
So, Angelo, you finished with 6.5 points. G?
Like 1.5 points or something.
You did yourself proud tonight. You got a mighty 3.5 points. Angelo's our winner. Well done,
Thank
Angelo.
you.
Well done, Angelo. Well done, Angelo.
Good quiz. Thank you.
All a bit of fun. All right. Let me just bring up a wee comment here. I just deliberately haven't done. which is the North Bank Summit evening, guys. Evening, Liam. Anybody who doesn't know, Liam has set up a channel of his own there called the North Bank Summit. Whenever he's got a wee minute, fire over and have a wee look at his channel, subscribe, and check that out for him. David, well done, Angelo.
Thank you.
Walcott guess in there. All right. Okay, so we've had a bit of fun, and we've talked lots already about transfer windows, kits, and stuff like that. I think it's really time we get into tomorrow's match and have a bit of a chat about that. Time's sort of marching on, and we need to look at what's going to happen tomorrow night. So we'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a wee sec. Okay, so we're back, and as I said before, this is our first preview show of the new season. We're previewing the Brentford against the Arsenal game tomorrow night. So Brentford are obviously new to the Premier League, just come up via the playoffs last season, beating, I believe it was Swansea 2-0 in the final. And obviously as a newly promoted side, everybody kind of will have the opinion of they're going to struggle a little this season. And we'll come on to that in a wee minute. Some interesting facts about Arsenal versus Brentford. We have played Brentford in 13 competitive games. Anybody want to guess who's won more games?
I'll go with Arsenal.
Don't think Brentford have.
Guess, what do you think? Brentford or Arsenal?
I'd say Arsenal.
Angelo?
Yeah, full house. I'd say Arsenal as well.
Brentford have beaten Arsenal 5 times. Arsenal have beaten Brentford 4 times, and there have been 4 draws.
Wow.
Now, that being said, the last time Brentford beat Arsenal was in the League One in 1938. We have actually only played, I think it's twice post-war, and one was a draw, and the last match we played against them was in the League Cup in 2018 when we beat them. So we haven't played them an awful lot, but they do have the slight edge, but that really counts for nothing because it was all pre-war, pre-Second World War anyway. So 13-0 Arsenal. No. So yeah, it's one of them funny ones because you would kind of think, Brentford, you look at them and go, they're a small side, certainly compared to Arsenal. We're bound to have a big record over them, but it just goes to show that when you haven't played a team for so many years, they can have a better record than you think. I mean, well, first of all, did anybody watch much of Brentford last season in the Championship? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really follow the Championship, so I can't really comment too much on it.
For me, I didn't necessarily watch them, but what got my attention was Tony's record in the Championship. So I don't really watch Championship football, but obviously Tony's performances throughout the season got my attention because it was kind of all over socials, just in terms of him kind of getting close to the Championship goal scoring record and just his kind of general performances. And obviously as the season came to a close, it was very much like he's going to, whether or not Brentford come into the Premiership, he's going to be at a Premier League side. And I think the only reason why he's at Brentford is because Brentford came up. Had Brentford not come up, he would have been transferred to a Premier League team. So yeah, I have to admit, I didn't really watch them. I did watch them in the playoffs, and that wasn't even too intensely. It was mainly to see what he was like because I know at certain points in the end of the last season we were kind of linked with him, and he was one player that I thought, we might be worth taking a punt on, if he comes at a reasonable price because looking back at the goals he scored and the assists he made, I know it's the Championship and a lot of people will say that, but regardless of whether it's the Championship or not, it's a tough league, and to score that many goals, I can't remember the exact amount that he got, but
33. Sorry, it was
something like 11
goals, 33 goals in 48 league games.
Yeah, and I think he had quite a few assists as well. So
assists, I think,
yeah. So I think to score that amount of goals, in the Championship is impressive because we've got players that bang them in the Premier League now, and they never got that many goals when they played in the Championship. So I think, you know, you can't really look at that and laugh that off or dismiss it. So yeah, didn't really watch them, but definitely took a close eye at his performances and, you know, the way he played. And if I'm completely honest, I'm a little bit nervous about Arsenal facing him.
Okay. Angelo, you were saying, obviously, before you came on the show that, you know, Tony came from Peterborough, and obviously you and Dudley are from that sort of general area. So had you seen him? Were you aware of him before this? Obviously from Peterborough times? Or?
Yeah, very much so. He just quickly, actually, on last season's record, you're right, 30-odd goals, 10 assists, nothing to be sniffed at. And the Championship is one of the toughest leagues in the world, actually. You know, it's really sort of undervalued how hard it is to get out of that league and to score goals. What I will say is I did keep a particularly close eye on him because, as you say, he played for our local team, Peterborough, before moving to Brentford. And actually before that, he was... Peterborough got him from Newcastle, but he'd been out on loan a number of times. Wigan, Northampton, one of the local rivals to Peterborough. So I sort of kept a close eye on him anyway. But what I will say is that those 30-odd goals he scored, towards the end of the season, his open play goals actually started to slow down and he was scoring a lot of penalties. You know, you still have to put them away, but I'm not saying that his record is necessarily overinflated by loads and loads of penalties, but that was something that I did start to notice as the season went on. The open play goals dried up. But what I would say about him is he's very physical, very clever, and he's certainly not. We were saying off air before. He's not the sort of striker that is going to necessarily outpace. You know, he's no Thierry Henry. Let's put him like that. You know, he's not a speed demon, but he is a strong and very capable player. I think. You know, I was saying before, Ben White, I think he's been a great signing. And from what I've seen of him, his play is all about position, intercepting the ball before it kind of gets to the defender or, you know, being in the right place. And he's got a bit of pace about him. But again, he's no speed demon. But I think in that respect, he could hold his own against Tony. I think I'd have preferred Gabriel to be fit for this game because Gabriel is all about the physicality. He's very aggressive as a defender. And it probably is going to be Pablo Mari that's going to take that left side defensive role. And I have my concerns about him. I mean, you saw him against Spurs in the pre-season game that we lost, just a bit defensively suspect. And Brentford are a bit of an unknown quantity, aren't they? Because as you say, we don't know an awful lot about them because they're not a regular Premier League team. They're not even a yo-yo club that go up and down season after season. We don't know an awful lot about them. So it'd be an interesting game. But same as G, from what I saw of them, they looked pretty good. Very much a team as opposed to a team full of superstars, even at Championship level. And sometimes, you know, it's the sum of the parts that make the success for the team. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, I get exactly what you're saying. They're not a team full of superstars. And obviously, Tony is one of the sort of standout players for them. And I'm going to come on to another one in a wee second. But they have recruited quite well this summer. And they have gone for the club record fee, 13.5 million for Christopher Ajar from Celtic, who comes down and he's very highly thought of. And a lot of people sort of putting him in that sort of Van Dijk mold, coming down to a sort of slightly lower Premier League side, the way Van Dijk came down to Southampton. With the potential then in another couple of seasons, he's going to move on to one of the top sides. So I mean, for 13.5 million, he's a very good signing. But Lottie, someone that we maybe are a wee bit more familiar with because he has been linked quite heavily with Arsenal in the past is, and for me, he's a bit of a standout player for them, is their goalkeeper, David Raya. I mean, do you know much about David Raya yourself? I mean, is he someone you think Arsenal should be looking at in terms of that backup goalkeeper option?
At this stage, if I'm honest with you, anyone's better than Brent Larson. Anyone's better than him. I've obviously saw him play in the playoffs, but other than that, not much. To be honest, I think the game will be interesting tomorrow. Brentford will be out to make a point to prove. I think Raya will definitely be blocking a few simple goals that we've tried to put in, looking at pre-season. But it could be interesting tomorrow. I mean, it's their first game since 1947, I think, in the Premier League. So I definitely think they're going to put a performance in. So is Raya to keep that clean sheet.
We were linked with him last season, weren't we? And I think they wanted something like 10 million for him. And I think at the time we balked and thought, 10 million for a number 2 goalkeeper, which we bite the hand off for now. He kept 17 clean sheets in the league last season, which, again, that's nothing to be sniffed at. So, as we said before about Ben White and thinking, 50 million pounds, that's a lot of money. You know, this time next season, we might be looking at that and going, that was a good buy, wasn't it? It's
always the way with Arsenal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, too little, too late. And then, as you say, we ended up sort of just going with a Runarsson at like $1.5 million or whatever it was, and look how that's turned out. So, buy cheap, buy twice is sometimes the motto that I live by in life.
Exactly.
So just before we sort of come on to some sort of predicted lineups, I want to get your opinion, and we'll go G first. Do you think that Brentford are going to struggle this season? Do you think they're going to go straight back down, or do you think they're potentially going to stay in the league?
Yeah, I think they'll go back down. I think the Premier League, like I was saying earlier, I think even as Arsenal fans, I think we sometimes kind of look at the Premier League and don't really see it for what it is. It's the toughest league in the world. The competition is incredible. You know, back in the day when it was, you know, in our glory days, you know, when I was kind of growing up and supporting Arsenal, it was kind of like United or Arsenal. And if United didn't win the league, we won the league. Those days are long gone. If you look at obviously our recent history, we've not won very much apart from, you know, the odd FA Cup here and there. United haven't won a trophy in I think 4 or 5 years. So, you know, whether you want to call it oil money or, you know, the emergence of billionaire owners, but you know, the league is very different to what I was used to growing up. So the competition is so tough, and it seems to be the competition, the bar in terms of quality seems to just be getting higher every single season. You look at the likes of, you know, Leicester and the type of players that they're buying. You look at some of the other teams like Aston Villa, dare I say it, and the quality of players. You know, 2 seasons ago they were fighting relegation. And now all of a sudden, yes, they've lost Grealish, but they've made some really, really good and shrewd buys. You know, Leon Bailey, you know, Danny Ings, etc. So I think Brentford will struggle. I think if Tony gets going early and he can score consistently, then they have a chance. But really and truly, I think all the 3 promoted sides are going to really struggle. I think just like every season, I think the teams that come up from the Championship do struggle. And I think this season, Brentford and the other 2, Watford and Norwich. Those were my 3 to go down. So I do think Brentford will struggle. I think they'll go right back down. And I think they'll lose the vast majority of their standout players next season.
Okay. Angelo, same question to yourself. Do you think they'll struggle?
Yeah, they'll struggle, but you know, I think they might surprise some people and get 17th. You know, and that'll be a good season for them if they manage to sort of stay up. I think they've got a strong spine. You know, we've spoken about David Raya. Obviously, they've just signed Aja, as you said, who is, you know, Scottish Premier League level. And by all accounts, a good defender. And then Tony up front. I'm not really sure an awful lot about their midfield, but they've got a good spine, shall we say? And if the rest of their team around them are strong enough, then but you know, I think they may well just stay up. But I take G's point. You know, all the newly promoted clubs are going to struggle, but maybe of all 3, they might be the surprise package this season.
Okay, Lottie, same to yourself.
Well, I've got them down as 19th in my bottom 3 this season. I mean, I think they will have a few surprise games where they'll actually win, and we're all thinking, they're going to lose that. But again, I think they will struggle as the season goes on. I think their first 3 games are reasonably easy, apart from us. In the state we're in, I could class us as an easy target for points, but I do think they will struggle with a few surprise games along the way.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, then, we are an Arsenal channel, an Arsenal dedicated channel. So I think it's important that we look at the Arsenal side. and obviously it's our first game of the season. So, as such, I will give you the honour, Angelo, of going first in terms of your predicted lineup. So I'll bring this up on the screen and talk us through your reasons for picking each of these players.
Yeah, sure. So this is very much the predicted lineup as opposed to what I would go with. I think it's important to say. I think back four, Leno in goal. That's quite obvious. We've got no competition for him at the minute. Centre backs, I think, kind of pick themselves really. Ben White's by far our best defender, and then it's a case of who's going to give them that balance on the left side of the centre back positions, and it's going to be Pablo Mari. I think it would have been Gabriel if he was fit, as I say, just for that raw aggression. But I don't really think we've got any other option there. So an okay sort of centre back pairing, but certainly not my first choice. Tavares coming in, I think he's always going to play back up to Kieran Tierney. One of my favourite players, Mr. Consistent. His only sort of mark on his Arsenal record really is his injuries. When he plays, he's brilliant. He just doesn't seem to play quite enough or quite as much as we'd hoped for. So, but still 100% our first choice left back. I don't think that's going to change unless Tavares does something in training that makes Arteta think otherwise. I've gone with Hector Bellerin at right back. Again, not what I would go with. I would go with Chambers, if I'm honest, just that physicality. But Bellerin can't really seem to do a lot wrong for Arteta to not pick him. So that's why I've gone with him. Again, not who I'd go with, but who I think Arteta would go with. Same as the centre-back pair, and I think the two in the middle kind of pick themselves. Granit Xhaka, again, offers that balance on the left side of centre mid, and Lokonga next to him, because again he's kind of better than the other options we've got. From what we've seen of him so far, and again, like we said earlier in this program, I've not seen anything of him at Anderlecht, but to get the captaincy from Vincent Kompany at such a young age means he's got a bit about him, and from what I've seen of him in pre-season, he's been brilliant. His first touch is fantastic. He can play a forward pass. He plays between the lines, and that in itself is more than we get from El Neni, who we know he loves to pass backwards or sideways. He's on commission for it, I think. And then sort of going forward, so Emil Smith-Rowe, again a no-brainer really, because we haven't really got a backup to him in that central attacking midfield position. Maybe something that we'll address in the next few weeks in the transfer window. And then it's that sort of front three that I have a bit of a dilemma over, really. I'd like to have started with Saka on the right, and I know Diddley mentioned in our podcast that he would too. But I think it's just too soon for him to be going straight into a full 90-minute game, having just come back from the Euros. I think he only joined training at the beginning of last week. I know he played against Spurs, but I think he'll come on, but I don't necessarily think he'll start the game. And you go back to, well, who have we got as the next best available? And really, it's Pepe. He finished the season strong last season, done okay in pre-season. Aubameyang on the left, again, not my first choice. I'd rather play him down the middle and start with Martinelli on that left. But again, he's just come back from the Olympics, so too soon to play him. And therefore, with Aubameyang playing on the left, it's Lacazette up front, because I think, again, probably a bit too early on in the season to be starting Flo Balogun as our number one striker, albeit I do think he'll get his opportunities, but this isn't it. And Eddie Nketiah, again, done quite well in pre-season, but I imagine he'll probably leave Arsenal in the next few weeks. So I kind of feel like for this first game of the season, where we should be buzzing and exciting about all new signings, I kind of felt like the team kind of picked itself to some degree, but I guess we'll see what you guys go with and how much it differs.
Absolutely, thank you. Okay, just before we come on that, Scott, morning guys. That lineup's far from perfect, but should be able to get the job done. Morning, Scott. How's things over in Australia this morning? No Saka, that's been answered. They will fancy getting something out tomorrow. That's obviously Brentford. Yeah, they will, absolutely. Okay, G, while I'm just bringing your team up, I'm going to say Normally what we do in these shows, because obviously it was myself and G up until sort of the end of last season before Lottie joined the team, was G would have done what he would have liked to see, and I would have done what I thought Arteta will pick. And obviously, if we had someone on with us, we would have given them an opportunity as well to do a team. And then maybe one of us would have stepped out. So we're only going to do two. We're only going to do Angelo's and G's tonight, because obviously 4 teams, everybody explaining their options is kind of a bit overkill. But what I would say is, you're going to see, obviously, I mean, you'll see straight away when I bring this up, it's virtually the same team that G has picked. And in actual fact, for the first time, me and G have actually picked the exact same team, because when I looked at it, I went, that's the exact same team I think that Arteta will pick. And looking at people on Twitter and stuff like that, everybody seems to be picking virtually the same 11. You know, it's 90% the same 11. There's exception of maybe 1 or 2 players that people aren't sort of sure on.
It says a lot about our options, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think that it's kind of a sad indictment of the state of our squad, that we are at a position where we can pick, and we also have come accustomed to what, you know, Arteta is picking. And unless he does something mad and leaves Tierney on the bench and throws number 34 in at left back again, you know, you gotta wonder. Just a couple of comments there before we do bring up yours, G. Is it too soon for Martinelli? Surely he should be fairly match fit, having just stepped off the pitch for the Brazil in the Olympics. It's a good point. We can't give away free kicks on our own half in and around our box. Gunnar San, Leno, Tierney, Murray, White, Chambers, number 34. I love the fact that this is catching on. If you hadn't seen this, I refuse to basically say number 34, number 2's real names, just because I've had enough of them. I don't want them gone. Yeah. Sambi, Emil Smith Rowe, Pepe, Oba, and Laka. Yeah, so again, I mean, it's very similar. Yes, unfortunately, we don't have many options. Makes it easier for opposition teams to counter us and play to us. David would play Saka. Alex, we don't have options, but we have an inflated squad of Deadwood. Absolutely. Yes, Mike, set piece defense is worrying. And lack of choices is crazy. Okay. So, Jay, I know you're sitting patiently waiting to talk to us. So, tell us why you picked this 11.
Yeah, so it's for me, like, you know, kind of what, you know, Angelo's touched upon it, you've touched upon it. You know, there are slight differences, but to be honest, everybody's generally picking the same side, and you know, you've explained the reasons why. It was an easy team to pick, but it was underwhelming, to say the least. So, you know, Leno, I'm not Leno's biggest fan, but he is a million miles better than any other goalkeeper that we've got in our ranks. So at the end of the day, we all know we need a goalkeeper, but the thought of playing anybody other than Leno, regardless of the fact that he's got a mistake in his locker, you take that mistake in his locker all day, every day over Renarsson, or even, you know, a couple of the young goalkeepers that we've got in our side. So for me, it's a no-brainer. We don't have any other plausible option but to play Leno in goal, which is crazy given we're starting the season tomorrow. So Leno is number 1 right now. He has to play. Tierney, you know, as much as I've been impressed by Tavares in pre-season, it is with pre-season, and Tierney has more than proven his worth and his quality. Just praying that he can stay fit throughout the season. So for me, Tierney goes straight, you know, back into, you know, the left back position. Absolutely immense player. And we really need him to stay fit and have a good season this season. So he's my first choice left back. Murray, simply because Gabriel's not fit. I agree with something that Angelo touched upon earlier, in that I think I would have preferred to have played Gabriel. For me, Gabriel is, I know there was a lot of debate last season about Murray and Gabriel, but for me, Gabriel's attributes for me are better than Murray's, and I think long term he is the left centre back choice that I would pick in terms of his height, his strength, his pace. You know, he loves a scrap, and that's what we need in that back line. And I think the only reason why I'm picking Mari, as good as he was, during periods last season when we needed him, I'm picking him because Gabriel's not fit. But I do think potentially he may struggle tomorrow in that match. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he has a really good game. The next choice, Ben White, is a no-brainer for me. I think he is, from what I've seen and from what I have actually looked into since we signed Ben White, as we always do as Arsenal fans, we might not know a huge amount about the player, but we do look into the player once the player signed. From what I've seen in the pre-season games that I did attend and I also watched, I think he's, a much better footballer than than Holding. And it's clear that Arteta wants a ball-playing defender. You can see that with both Gabriel and Ben White. They're both pretty comfortable with the ball at their feet. They can pick out a pass. So for me, you don't pay 50 million for a defender to bench him. And I think it just showed, how influential Ben White is going to be this season, with the fact that, we announced the signing on Friday and he was part of the first team in a friend. I think it was on Saturday or the Sunday. So he put him straight in. He's in the first team. So I'd be gobsmacked if he doesn't play tomorrow. At right back, it's a case of, as much as I do like Chambers, and I have said, he's one of the players that I do think is potentially worth keeping. And the reason why I say that is because he has that versatility. He can play right back. He can play kind of CDM, which he did on loan at Fulham. He can play centre back. And a lot of the time, players don't have that kind of versatile side to him. I don't massively think he excels in any of those positions, but he's a decent player to have in the squad. And out of the three options that we've got, Cedric, although by all accounts from what we're hearing, has had a pretty, well, not necessarily a good pre-season, but he's training hard, he's pushing for a place. I can't see him starting. Bellerin, I'm not his biggest fan, and from what I saw against Chelsea, he gave away the ball for Tammy Abraham to just, put it away in the pre-season. I just can't legitimize picking him. So I've gone with Chambers. But again, it's one of those kind of reluctant picks because I just think of the three, he's our best option. In midfield, the kind of pivot, I know some people like that phrase, some people don't. But yeah, for me, these two, Xhaka and Lokonga, at present are our best options. El Nene, honestly, I can't legitimize picking him at all. He's definitely one player that I feel like if we could move on before the window closes, we really, really need to move him on. I'm just not sure what he does well, to be honest, apart from, effort, which is good. It's applaudable. And he seems to have an amazing engine on him. Even when it comes up to the 90th minute, he's still chasing the ball down. But other than that, he just lacks real quality. So for me, given Partey's absence, Joe Willockers being sold, I don't rate Ainsley as a midfielder. These are the only two I could legitimately pick in the middle. Ahead of them, we've got to go with our number 10, Smith Rowe. He had a blinder last season, played really well. He's extended his contract. He's our new number 10, and it would just make sense to play him. So I don't see anybody. Obviously, we are in the market for a cam. And I do think we need a cam because I don't think it's wise to rely on him throughout the whole season, despite there being less games because of a lack of European football. But yeah, given the situation we're in right now, he has to play for me and in the number 10 position behind the front man. On the right, I'm going to go with Pepe. He ended the season fantastically well, really on form, and it's amazing because the way he ended the season, people were even kind of saying, could he potentially challenge for the player of the season because it was so good at the latter stages of the season when maybe Saka's form kind of fell off a little bit. He kind of came good. He had some really, really good performances. Not been massively impressed with him in preseason, I must say. I think he's been a bit quiet. I think he's looked dangerous. He's kind of looked a little bit more how he was at the beginning of last season, in that dangerous in moments, but not really done it. Haven't really seen him, create very much, score very much, but hopefully saving himself for tomorrow. So I've gone with Pepe, and that's mainly due to the fact that I think Saka would be my first choice, But I have to agree with Angelo. I think it's a bit too soon, given his exploits in the Euros, and also just kind of given the aftermath in terms of the treatment and so forth. Just coming back to training, I don't think with a player like Pepe in the squad, we don't need to throw Saka in there straight away. If he's on the bench and we need him, I'm sure he'll come on and he'll do a job. But we've got a £72 million player there who ended last season fantastically well. So why not give him a start? He's had the whole of pre-season to prepare for this game. So that's why I'm picking Pepe. On the left-hand side, I've gone with Aubameyang. For me, the left-hand side is a massive issue, a huge issue. And I do think, had the rest of the squad not been in such a mess in terms of right back, centre mid, can't score goals, and so forth, I think the left side is an issue. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think either Martinelli or Aubameyang, for me, are good enough left-sided players in my humble opinion. I'm used to seeing like wingers, the likes of Overmars, Lundberg, Perez. These are wingers. These guys are kind of like inside forwards. They're not really wingers. They're not really, it just doesn't rest easy with me. I don't think Aubameyang should be playing on the left, but then last season he didn't really give us any reason as to why we should be playing him in the middle. And Martinelli's just come back from obviously Olympic glory. I don't massively rate him as a left winger either or a left forward. I think, again, he gives a lot of effort. He tries really hard. You're never going to fault him for effort. But in terms of the attributes of what I look for a winger, I'm just not sure if he is the answer long term. And at this precise moment, if we can't play Aubameyang in the first game of a league season against Brentford, then I don't really know why we're even going to register him, to be honest. And I know that sounds crazy, but he's on X amount of hundreds of thousands a week. He's our club captain. If we can't play him in our first away game against a newly promoted side, then what are we doing? We might as well just put him on a transfer list, take the captain's armband from him, and sell him within the next 2 weeks. There's no point. I can't honestly see the point in benching Aubameyang. He needs to find form, and the only way he's going to find form is for him to be playing. Whether he's playing in the right position on the left, in the centre, I don't know, but I've put him on the left. I've put Lacazette up top, mainly because I don't really know who else to put up top. I think Aubameyang throughout last season was pretty anonymous in the middle at times. I think we trialed Martinelli there in a game, and he looked absolutely clueless in the middle, really kind of lightweight. Eddie definitely isn't the answer. So it's kind of slim pickings, really. And I think out of all the options we have, in terms of last season, Lacazette being our top goal scorer, in terms of, Brentford probably sitting deep, I think Lacazette is the best option in terms of holding up the ball, maybe bringing in some of the other wide players. So Lacazette's the best option for me. So that's why I've picked him. But yeah, it was... As much as I want the lads to do well, and when I look at that team on paper, I think somebody said it in the comments, that team should comfortably beat Brentford. But we said that time and time again last season. There are teams that we should have comfortably beat, but we didn't. At the same time, I have to be honest, it was quite underwhelming picking that side, because other than a couple of players like Tierney, Ben White, Lokonga, Pepe, maybe it was like I'm picking the same names from last season. And if we can pick that team, then the Brentford manager is going to know who's going to be playing, and I think it's going to be pretty easy to predict. You can see my cat doing absolute somersaults in the background. It's going to be pretty predictable lineup for everyone. So yeah, they're going to see us coming. We just got to hope the lads perform.
Okay, excellent. Well, listen, we'll come on the scoreline, our score prediction in a wee sec. So we're conscious of time. So, Lottie, I know you've obviously had to sit and listen for quite a bit. So I'll give you a quick chance to speak, and we'll cover off these couple of questions that come in. So, Doyle 1876. Any positivity for tomorrow?
Nope.
No.
I'm glad the football's back. Don't get me wrong, but the state that we're in, no.
Okay.
And after the Tottenham's performance, no.
Okay.
I'm very nervous.
Do you think Arteta will try playing a high line tomorrow?
Possibly. It depends if Lacazette and Aubameyang want to turn up and actually score.
Okay.
Yesterday I did predict 2-1, and I had Sam being Saka to score, so possibly.
Okay. Is Rob injured? Obviously holding. I think he was. I think he had picked up a knock, but I think he's back and training okay.
I think it was the last time I saw him was, I think, at the Chelsea game, and he was doing runs on the pitch at half time, and then he was taken off, which was kind of weird.
Okay. With no box-to-box midfielders, would a 4-4-2 system suit us more with Oba and Laka leading the line?
Possibly. I think so. That could work. But he doesn't want to play like that. That's the problem.
Okay.
I do wonder that one myself, to be honest. I mean, as G said, Oba looked a bit lost sometimes himself and a bit anonymous up front. And I often think, the famous celebration of Oba and Lacazette shaking hands, that meant they're on the pitch together at the same time, and they look for each other. They have that support act. So would having two up front be better? I've thought that myself, to be honest.
Okay. Eddie this preseason looked all right from the left. Yeah, you know what? Eddie hasn't been too bad. Gabby has been pure class whenever he played in left wing. Do you know what? There's no doubting that Martinelli's a good player. As I've said before, though, he gives the ball away a lot, but he's a little terrier in that, and he will fight to get it back. And that's why I think fans have really taken to him, because he puts that energy in. But if you actually look at his play, he still does give the ball quite away, or give it away a lot. So, his ball retention is something he needs to work on if he's going to play as a winger. I do think he'll end up as a centre forward, though. Mr. Silverfox evening, Tony. We're a mid-table team now. No game is going to be comfortable. Very true. I was going to ask the panel, Arteta in or out? We'll come back to that in a wee sec. It's okay. I'm pessimistic. 1-1 at best. Are we worried our defence will give Brentford or any other team a free goal or two? Lottie?
It depends if Mari wants to have his head switched on or not. We'll see.
Okay. And do we have a fox in the box? Laka plays so deep. No, we do if Eddie was fit, but Eddie's not fit, and potentially he's going to go. I don't think Balogun's that sort of player, so it'll be interesting to see. Do you guys think the stubbornness of Arteta could be his undoing this season? It could, absolutely. Friday the 13th, newly promoted Brentford at their home stadium with fans. Brentford stealing a point is in the script. The head says 1-1, but heart is pushing for a 2-1 Arsenal win. Okay. And Chris, haven't they played two up front and they kind of got in each other's way? Yeah. Okay. Very quickly, on that, Joseph asking there, panel, are you Arteta in or out, Angelo?
We've debated this a lot on our own podcast, to be honest, and I think we've given Arteta the benefit of the doubt that it was a big job, massive rebuild, a lot of dead wood, a lot of the stuff we're still saying now, unfortunately, 18 months, 2 years later. And really we said, look, let him have this summer and then kind of let him be judged from here on in. So for the time being, still Arteta in. You can see some of the progress. We've talked about how we finished a disastrous season, still with the third best defensive record. So, there are signs. I'm still Arteta in for the time being, but it won't take long for that sort of good fortune goodwill to turn around, and it'll be time for a change then. But for the time being, still in.
I'm reserving judgment until the end of the transfer window. Lottie?
I've got a nice cushy seat on the fence. He's got till Christmas, though.
G?
I think at the moment, I have to say I'm still Arteta in. But I have to agree with Angelo. There's a very thin line. And I don't think it will take very much. Because at the moment, I think, Stephen and Lottie will tell you, it's like my moods when it comes to Arsenal are just like the weather at the moment. It's like I can wake up and feel very optimistic about things. For some of the things that Angelo has mentioned. And also, I do like to put things in context in terms of the market, not being able to shift players, etc., etc. At the same time, sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, get them all out. So it's and I try to stay off Twitter when I'm like that because I don't like to be too reactionary until it passes. But yeah, at the moment I'm still Arteta in, but I think as Stephen said, I think the close of the transfer window will definitely potentially sway that, and I think the first 3 games of this Premier League season, I think, is massively going to impact how I feel, because we've got our first game against Brentford, and then we've got 2 massive games against Man City and Chelsea. And I'm not saying I expect obviously I want us to beat Chelsea and Man City, but I'm not saying I expect wins, but the performance of the players and the team is going to be crucially important. So yeah, Arteta in right now, but very thin line.
Excellent. Right, kind of conscious of time here again. So we're going to come on to score predictions, but just before we get those, and we are going to do 2 things this year with our score predictions. I'll tell you the second one in a wee minute, but the first one is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, every show, every preview show that we do, I will take down a note of mine, G, and Lottie's score predictions. And we're going to give points for the, if you get the score right, or if you get the correct score, or if you get the result right, you'll get points, and I'll work that out. But we'll also have, obviously, if we have a guest on, they'll take part on behalf of the sort of fans or the guests. If there's not, we'll pick someone at random who can, pick the score, and they'll represent the guests on that show. And we'll see at the end of the season whoever wins. Now, me and G had talked about this before, so Lottie, we'll ask you in a wee sec, but me and G had said we were going to do this last season, and we have a bit of a wager on it, that if I win, G's going to buy me a bottle of whiskey. If G wins, I'm going to buy him a bottle of brandy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lottie, what would you like?
Oh, it's got to be a bottle of tequila rosé.
Bottle of tequila rosé. Okay. If the guests win, then what we'll do is we'll take the money that we were going to spend on that bottle and we'll give it to charity. Okay. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going with a 1-1 draw tomorrow night. G?
You know what? As pessimistic as sometimes I do feel, I just feel like they're gonna come out. They're gonna put in a performance, and we're gonna win 3-0 tomorrow night.
What was that? Sorry.
3-0.
3-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah. 3-0 to Arsenal.
Okay.
They gotta do it. They're gonna do it.
Lottie, we'll come to you next.
As I said earlier, 2-1 to Arsenal.
2-1 to Arsenal. Okay. The reason I've left Angelo's to the end is because the second thing I'm going to do is, today I deposited £38 in one of my online betting accounts, and every week our guest, or if we don't have a guest, we will pick someone at random to play on behalf of the guests or fans, and whatever their prediction is, I will place a £1 bet on that result, and any money we win at the end of the season, again, we'll give it to a charity. So, Angelo, do you want to tell us what your score prediction is for tomorrow?
Yeah, potential banana skin, first game of the season, fans are back, under the lights. But I think, despite finishing 8th, we are Premier League class of some sort. So I'm actually going for a confident 2-0 win to Arsenal.
Okay, excellent. And obviously, I'm not going to lie, Angelo and myself had that conversation before we came on air, and I have already gone on and placed the bet. And just to let you know, I placed that bet of 2-0 to Arsenal, and it's at odds of 8-1, so it will return £9 in total. So if we get a 2-0 win, it's a good start to the pot.
Good stuff.
All right, that's kind of it. So a couple of other things we'll run through. But before we head off, first thing is, obviously, a number of people have asked us in the past about buying Can Chatter hoodies and t-shirts and stuff like that. And I've always said, I'll get it sorted. We're finally in a position where we can offer the sale of those items if people are interested. And if you are, just give me a wee DM and I'll explain what we need to do. Just to let you know, pricing, t-shirts will be available in red, yellow, or grey. So obviously the red is similar to what G's wearing. This is the yellow, and we'll do a grey. And those t-shirts will work out at $14.99. And if you want to have them personalised with your name underneath the Cannon Chatter, we can do that for you. It'll be an extra £2. And obviously then there's postage and package on top of that, but it can be posted to anywhere in the world. And if you want a hoodie, at the minute they will be in red and grey, and G is modelling one there. They are $24.99, and again £2 if you want it personalised, and again plus postage and package. And as I say, just DM me, and I can explain what we need to do. We will also probably have them, both the t-shirts and the hoodies, available in a pink and a blue as well. So that's that. Lottie, do you very quickly want to tell us about fantasy football?
Yep. So fantasy football is closing tomorrow at midday. At the moment, we've got 155 players in the league. If you want to come join us, you can join us through fantasy.premierleague.com or download the Premier League app on your Android or iPhone. The entry code is on screen. It will be in the description after the show. Or you can just DM me, G, or Stephen, and we'll give you the code to join us. You have got till midday tomorrow to join us. I believe Stephen's trying to arrange some prizes for Christmas time and the end of the season. But if you want to take us three on, why not give it a challenge?
Excellent. Okay. Angelo, have you got a team in yet?
I've not. To be honest, Diddley's probably more of our fantasy football guru than I am. I tend to set one up and then forget about it or leave it too late, being too busy to then make changes. So I won't disgrace myself, but I know Diddley's aware of it, so he may well get in there before the deadline.
Good. Tell him again. I tell you what, though, I mean, I did that once. I did a fantasy football, and it wasn't the Premier League one, but I picked a team. I paid attention to it for the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then I forgot all about it. I ended up winning the league. Because everybody else was chopping and changing their team and filling with things, and my team was the same, and it was grand. Anybody, any more questions or comments, just drop them in the chat now, and we'll come back to them in a wee sec. Are you guys broadcasting on Twitter as well? We are indeed. I got this. Good. Like to see someone confident.
Go on, Tony.
Yeah, oh, that's right, David. It was yourself I was having this conversation with. And you have your team this time. Okay. G, do you want to tell us very quickly about the sub challenge?
Yeah, so we've got this sub challenge that's ongoing. So obviously, we've got to hit, well, in order for us to see Stephen bleach his hair blonde, we need to hit 500 subs by the start of the Premier League season. So we haven't got long left. So please do, if you do watch our shows, if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. If you know any other gooners that you think might be interested in, seeing our content, but also seeing Stephen bleach his hair, then please do subscribe to the channel. So that's the first part, and obviously that's the closest part. It's almost like our deadline day between now and tomorrow. So we really need to get those subs up between now and tomorrow. Regardless if we hit it or not, obviously we'd love to see Stephen with bleached blonde hair, but nevertheless, if you are sub, thank you, already. If you haven't, then please do hit subscribe. The second part of the sub challenge, you've got some time on your hands for the second part. So if we do hit 1,000 subs between now and 31st of December of this year, then you'll get the opportunity to see me bleach my hair blonde. And I think we basically agreed that it will be the hair, the beard, and the tash. So yeah, as much as I want to hit 1,000 subs, I'm not sure if I'm going to be pushing that too tough. I have to be completely honest. So
tomorrow I'm going all out with pushing it.
I know you will. I know you will. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I probably won't retweet much of the stuff that Stephen's going to be putting out about the sub challenge after tomorrow. But nevertheless, if you do want to see it, feel free to subscribe between now and Christmas. And last but not least, if we hit 2,000 subs between now and the start of next season, so that is a real bonus here. Lottie will be getting a tattoo. I've got a really good mate who owns a tattoo shop in South London, so it's not going to be difficult for us to set this up. But nevertheless, if you want to see Lottie get a tattoo, then please do subscribe. If we get 2,000 subscribers between now and the start of next season, then she will get a tattoo. In terms of what this tattoo will be, well, stay tuned. You will be finding out very soon. There will be some options. There will be some choices. Lottie will have a say. We're not going to force her. She's doing this, willingly. I don't want to get no complaints or anything like that. But yeah. So,
that's because my mom's watching, G.
But yeah, some interesting sub challenge that we have. So 500 by tomorrow to see Stephen with bleach hair. 1,000 by Christmas, 1,000 by the 31st of December to see me with bleach blonde hair, and 2,000 by the start of next season to see a tattoo on Lottie.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, as I say, any last questions, get them in now. Lottie, quickly run through the socials for me.
Okay, so if you want to find us on Facebook, you can find us on Cannon Chatter. Instagram is exactly the same, but we've got an underscore in our username. If you want to follow me, Cannon Chatter, which is our main social, it's at Cannon Chatter. If you want to follow Stephen, it's at SB Cannon Chatter. If you want to follow G, it's G Talks Arsenal. Or if you want to follow me, it's Lottie_B with 2 I's, because someone beat me to it. My latest blog is going to be dropped tomorrow. It's going to be all about Ben White. So if you want to check that out, or you want to learn a bit more about Sambi or Tavares, please go and check it out at lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications, and hit that like button.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, tonight's show's gone on a wee bit longer than I was kind of expecting. I had kind of thought we'd cut them back down again. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Angelo for coming on and for giving us your time tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, and I'm really glad that we finally got around to doing this. Thank you so much, and hopefully we can do some stuff together again in the future.
Yeah.
For the guys who don't know you and aren't familiar with you, tell us about Blast from the Arsenal and where the guys can find you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. So we probably see there at Blast Arsenal Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We'll say that Twitter's the hub of all of our social media activity. It's where we have most of our interaction with with Arsenal fans, and sometimes non-Arsenal fans drop by as well. We release a podcast every Monday night. You'll find on all the usual podcasting platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. And I think one thing that we clicked with Cannon Chatter from the off was that we both sort of talk sensible football. We were saying off air before how that was one of the things that kind of got us talking, really, was that there's no ranting and raving. It's normal football, sensible talk. So please drop us a follow on socials, and feel free to download a podcast or two.
Excellent, thank you. I have to say, I mean, when I first started listening to you guys, it was I had just sort of gone on to furlough and was doing a lot of decorating in the house, and your shows got me through many an hour or two of decorating. So thank you. And as I say, it's been great having you on, and hopefully we'll get to do some more stuff together soon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, any last comments then? Chris, after tomorrow I will tweet about it every day until Christmas. Good man. Chris is a match steward tomorrow night at the Brentford game. So lucky for some, we'll get to go for free. Stay safe, buddy. Okay, so on that note, I think that's everything. G, any last words?
Yeah, no, just thank you for everyone for tuning in. Obviously, also, Angelo, thank you for coming on tonight. And just wish everyone good luck wherever you're watching the game. Stay safe, and let's hope we can start the season with a really positive result.
Lolly?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for tuning in.
Excellent. From my point of view, thank you everybody for tuning in. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching it back later on, make sure you like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And as I always like to do, Angelo, you can have the last word.
Look, let's look for this season with a bit of positivity, and we wipe the slate clean and we start fresh tomorrow. So good luck everyone and enjoy.